Good day and welcome to this recording of our third Tuesday at 3 webcast, Intranets and Portals in G Suite. This is a recording, actually a re-recording of our February broadcast. We've redone this as a special recording because we did have some technical issues with the audio during the live session. So we appreciate you coming back or for the first time taking time to view this recording, learn a little bit about some of the limitations of the new and the classic sites in G Suite, and look at a solution we found that we think can benefit most of our customers. I'm joined during this presentation by Sean Power from Overdrive, the product that we are going to be demoing here and discussing here today. So we talk about intranets and portals in G Suite. We hear a lot about using shared folders in Drive. We hear a lot about using Google Sites, and of course there are multiple versions of Google Sites. You've got the Sites 1.0, otherwise known as classic sites, and now you have new sites, which is for us Sites 2.0. And with the discussion about what you can and can't do, we find that a lot of our customers have pretty big expectations on the capabilities of those environments. When they actually start to go build sites, however, we find that the reality is much different unless you're willing to bring in some moderately priced, somewhat sometimes expensive application developers and programmers to work around some of the limitations of the Google Sites infrastructure. And so when we look at Google Sites, particularly the classic version, it's a great tool. It does have a lot of power, particularly if you're looking to create intranet or an internal portal or even a secure web page for folks outside your organization. And you have the ability to create a variety of web pages with different functions. You can have a blank web page. You can embed content from throughout the G Suite application. You can have wiki pages with threaded discussions. You can have news alerts in moderated or unmoderated discussion groups. You can create file, a file cabinet, if you will. You upload files and create those document libraries. And so it's a fairly robust environment. It's not necessarily easy to use and set up. What you see is what you get. Editor doesn't always reflect what's on the screen, and sites can end up looking a bit chunky and not very modern in their appearance. Additionally, sites built in the classic version aren't responsive, meaning they do not respond to the size of the screen, so they don't always display particularly well on tablets and other mobile phones and other mobile devices. There's some other limitations to Sites 1.0 as well. Probably the most irritating for many organizations is that it's a separate security infrastructure. So yes, you can restrict sites so that only people in your domain can view it, and when you go to share with people outside the domain, you're sharing the site with them. You then need to make sure they have access to the content as well. And so because of that separate security, you're not just having documents in Drive be embedded, you're uploading them, and now you've got to maintain the content in addition to maintaining the source materials. There's some well-known scripting limitations as far as what you can do with JavaScript and other tools. Most of that is there to prevent the type of security flaws that can happen in websites, in particular because if someone got in to your Google site, they have access to your G Suite account. And so security is a pretty important component of the environment. If you want to make things look a little more stylish, you do, however, need to bring in some outside expertise. You can modify the CSS files, you can edit directly the HTML code, but it's not, you're limited in what you can do, and it really does require some specific expertise. And we have partners that we bring in with that expertise. So Google, particularly in response to a demand to have more responsive web pages, those that display well on tablets and smartphones, Google earlier this year released Sites 2.0, or the new sites, which gives you the ability to build, to create responsive web pages, a little more modular in design. You still can have, robust navigation. You still create document libraries and embed the G Suite content. But now the big difference is that Drive is where you're storing the information and where you're managing the security. So you can create a website that is public-facing, and if you're including content from Google Drive in that website and you don't have public permissions, the public won't be able to see it. They'll get an error message that there's information that they don't have access to. And so it's a pretty good step forward in some respects, because you've got the responsiveness. You now have, being able to use Drive for your storage and security means you can use Drive as a content management system, control who is edit, who has the ability to comment, and who has the ability to view information. In doing so, it actually makes it a little easier to share sites with people outside your domain, outside your organization. The challenge is right now is you still have some pretty strict scripting limitations, and right now you have extremely limited design options. Very few templates and themes exist, so it is going to require a larger amount of external expertise to get something that doesn't look like it was created off a template or one of the 7 or 8 predefined themes that Google gives you. And so we see that while Sites 2.0 has a lot of potential, is coming a long way, it still lacks a lot. And so a number of our customers asked us, is there a better solution? And we actually found one. And their tagline best describes it. It's better sites for G Suite. The product is Overdrive. It's an affordable tool that lets you create better looking websites as intranets or portal, a better integration of information with more style, features, and the ability to better manage your content. And so it's fully integrated with all of your G Suite content. You can also bring in external content if you want. Drive becomes your content management system, not just for permissions, but you have the ability to offer interactive documents, meaning if people visiting the site have the right to edit a document, they can do that right from in the website. They don't have to open the document in Drive. This lets you share documents for editing for people who aren't using Google Apps and aren't familiar with it. They don't have to create a Google account to access Drive. They can just edit right within the website. And of course, as you move files into and other information into Google Drive, it can automatically populate the content on the website. What we also love about it is it gives you much more flexibility when it comes to design of the overall template and theme, and even the look and feel of the different pages. And that flexibility makes for a more powerful solution. And so what I'd like to do now is, rather than talking about it, this is something that's best seen. I'm going to invite Sean Power to take control of the screen, and he's going to walk through a demonstration of Overdrive in which, in real time, he actually builds a site based on information that he's already collated into Google Drive. So Sean, I'm going to hand over the content to you.
Hello and welcome to the demonstration of Overdrive. We're going to create a site live for you as part of the demonstration. So we'll look at particular usage. In this particular case, we're building a student portal. So it's very education based, but the principles are exactly the same, whether you're working in the private or public sector. I'm in Drive, as you can see, and I have a folder structure already prepared within Drive. And it's reasonably deep, and it's got some assets contained with some of the folders. Obviously, I've pre-authorized Overdrive as a heavy user, so I can just right-click on this top-level folder, select Open With, and I select Overdrive. And the first thing that Overdrive does, it asks who I am. Essentially, I'm knocking on the door of this site. It wants to make sure A, that I've got access to the site, and then B, what assets I can see. So I'm just going to use my Google credentials just to sign through. So I click on that sign-in screen, for instance, is just a sample, so you can change that to look however you want it to look. And what Overdrive is doing now is essentially, it knows that I can access the site. It's running through into Google Drive, and it's looking at the folders, the subfolders, and all the assets, and essentially bringing them across into the site. I'm going to just tidy up my screen a little bit. I've got this help panel here. So this is our standard wording, but you can change this. So you can guide your users through using Overdrive. So you can tell them how to use it, what to do, which sections are most important to them, etc. Notice that the menu structure has already been built, and that's just a straight reflection on what was in Google Drive. So all the folders, subfolders, and all the assets actually have been brought across into Drive here, into Overdrive. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes just tidying up the site. So first thing that most users do is add a logo. You notice that I'm using my Drive assets here. So I'm just doing a Drive search, select the document that I want, and it's nicely displayed up there. Another thing that I'll do is just lift the color a little bit. So you see that we've got a plethora of options to change fonts, colors, sizes, layout, etc. But I've got some pre-canned up here that I'll just use. So I'll use Cerulean, and I'll just quickly change the layout just so you can see some of the things that we can do. So I'll change the top nav to static, and I'll increase the height a little bit. There are lots of other options, as you can see, in terms of things that you can do to set up the site. And you've even got the option of adding in any JavaScript or style sheet if you've got those skills available within your organization. So I'll click save, and those changes are committed to the site. Now, the Overdrive site itself is made up from a series of page types, and those page types that you use are really dictated by the content, by the assets that you have on there. So I'll show you some of those working and some of those in action, just so you get an idea of what it can do. There are two ways I can access page settings. I can go through the main cog menu. You see I've got page settings as well as site settings and user settings, or I've got this shortcut here. So I'm just going to click on the shortcut, and this is the option that I'm most interested in, which is the content type. So I'm going to select dashboard from this content type, and you see that the options are dynamic. So I'll click on, it's going to select create a dummy dashboard for me, but I also just want to get rid of this sub-nav here. I can do that either on each individual page, or I can do it across the site, depending which is easiest. So I'll click save. So the dashboard is a slightly unusual content type, because what it does, it creates a dummy dashboard for me, which you can see here. So it's got some standard text, some images, etc. If I just use this option here to open in Drive, you see that we open up a new tab, and that tab is just a Google Doc editor. And you see that the dashboard itself is simply created from a Google Doc. There's some static information in here, like this text and these images, but there's also some dynamic information. So here I've got a YouTube video link, and Overdrive recognizes a YouTube video link, and instead of displaying the link, it actually displays a thumbnail of the video, which works very well. And we've got some more. We've got an RSS feed and a Google map down here. But that works for me at the moment. I'll go back and make any changes that I need to the text and layout and images, etc. What I'm interested in now is showing you how we can look at and deal with documents, essentially. So I'm going up to Departments, Art and Design, and I'll click on the Information folder, simply because I know there's information in here and assets that I can see. So what Overdrive does, the first time that you visit a site, it essentially goes through a process that we call discovery. So it looks at what assets exist within this folder, and then B, checks them against what the assets that I can see as an individual user. So I can, so it takes a little bit longer to actually display the assets the first time that you visit a site. So here we have all the assets which were in there in Drive have been pulled across, and you see that we've got a mixture of assets, as you might see. So Google Docs, PDFs, images, etc. A couple of things I can do. First of all, I can change how many are displayed on the page, which might be quite useful in certain circumstances. You see we paginate them automatically. But I can also, if I want to, change the view of the document. So I can change, let's say, to medium icons. So again, what it does, it looks at those images. It kind of creates a thumbnail. Again, this is the first time I'm doing this, so it's creating the thumbnail for me, and then it'll display those on the page. So particularly folders where they've got lots of images, as you can see, they'll work very well in this particular format. I'm going to click back to details, because there's one or two things that I want to show you regarding how we can manipulate the documents that we've got within our folder. First thing I might want to do is click on the information button, and that gives me some information about the document itself. So if it had a drive description, it could be in here, and I can add a drive description, which will be reflected within Google Drive if I want to. I can get a preview, and I can also add any metadata tags for ease of searching, etc. Well, one thing that I can do is, this is a fairly flat folder structure, but I can filter this list. So I can say, show me anything that mentions the word house, for instance, or let's say anything that mentions design. And it circulates and looks in the Google Docs for the title, but also in the document itself, so you can find information, and obviously in description or in the metadata tag, so I can find information relatively easily. So that's great. It takes a Google folder, pulls the contents across, displays them appropriately if I can see them, and allows you to do one or two other things that you just can't do within Google Drive. But what I want to do is embed a document directly onto the page here, because this is a static document that we don't have much interaction with. So back up to page settings, and the content type I'm going to select now, I'm going to click on Google Drive. And you notice that the options have changed. So now I'm doing a Google Drive search, and I'll look for an appropriate folder, which happens to be this art and design. Click on select, and I've got another set of options here because I've chosen a Google Doc. The one I want to choose is preserve formatting. I'll just click save. So what Overdrive does now, it looks at that Google document, pulls the content of that document out, and effectively embeds it directly onto the page. So as I said, this is really useful for static documents like policy documents, guides, anything where users are typically just consuming information rather than interacting with it. And you can see it's got that information on here and it's rendered appropriately. A couple of things I want to show you from here. So I have an option here which is open in Drive. This is because I've got the right access level to be able to do this. Open it in Drive just means open it in Google Docs effectively. So I've got the ability to, if I've got some heavy editing to do, then I can open it up within Google Drive. But I've also got this option here, switch to edit mode, which effectively opens up the Google Doc editor within Overdrive, which is a really neat thing. So it saves me having to go into Drive, find the right folder, check it's the right document, open up the document, make the changes. I can do it directly within here. And if I do things like I say changed, you see that's reflected within the Google Doc. And if I'm quick enough, if I delete this and then go back to Overdrive, you'll see that that disappear, which is very good. Changes are saved automatically because it's a Google Doc. So I'll switch out of edit mode. So that's good. So we can take contents of a Google folder, display them as a list and filter them and manipulate them and add additional content to those. We can also take a document and embed it directly onto the page so users can see the information and interact with it easily. What I might want to do is take that same principle and apply it to a Google Sheet, which works very well. So here I've got a document. You see that it's kind of a folder list, but that's not good enough for me at this time. So content type, Google Drive. Do my Drive search, and I'm searching for course applications, which is that document there. And you see how the other options have changed. With the Google Sheet, I can select which tab of that sheet I want to display, which works very, very well. So list of applications is what I want, and I'm showing you some of these functions as we go through. So I'll select them, and then we can show you them and talk about them. Another thing that I do want to do is get rid of the subnav, so I've just got more space on the screen, and click Save. So again, Overdrive looks at that Google Sheet, pulls the information across, and it's enhanced the display of it. So it's kind of striped it. I've got hover, I've got click-through ability. I can sort it very quickly, which is something that's actually quite difficult to do within Google Drive. And I've got the filter, so I can search for anything. Let's say if we had, looking for biomaterials, and it'll show me all those courses. Or if I were looking for Flowlo as I think I mistyped that. There we go, Floto as a particular applicant, or I can say show everything that's been completed. And you'll see that information here, all the completed applications. So again, the principle is I'm taking the information that's been Google Sheets and I'm enhancing it by adding some additional functionality that I just can't do within Drive. Another thing I can do just while we're talking about documents is on my news section. I've got 4 documents here. What I might want to do is display them differently. I want to create a kind of a blog. So up here I've got the display type, and I can just change that to a blog. And what it does, it takes out the first paragraph, the first image, and any descriptions, as you can see here, and displays them appropriately on the page. And then users can click through into the full article and read the article if they so wish. And again, that just makes it really easy for us to be able to publish information and articles, because all we have to do is create the Google Doc, put it in the right folder, and then it's displayed and rendered appropriately on the page, which again just makes it very easy for us to make the site interactive and make it live, which works very well. Just while we're talking about this, about interaction, what I can do, I'm just going to I'll go back to the news section. To show you this one, what I can do is add a comment block in here. So I can add this either at a page level or a folder level, and I can say this is a comment, and I can reply to those comments. Let's comment, and you see we're having a discussion about this page, about this asset, this document, etc. And you can turn that on either across the whole site or on individual pages. Okay, that's pretty much for documents. What I want to show you now is some of the other features that we get with Overdrive. And one of them, what I want to show you is Google Contacts. It's always been a little bit of an anomaly with Google Contacts that it's very difficult to share contacts, but in Overdrive we make it easy. So here we have contacts groups. What it does, it looks in my contacts, looks at my groups and allows me to pull one across. So I've just got this demo group here, and I can click OK. And I've got some other options in here which I won't play about with at the moment, but what I can do is just click Save. And then again, Overdrive looks at my contacts, pulls the information across, looks at how I want to display that information, and then shows it appropriately on here. And I can do things like I could sort this, I can filter it as well. So anything that mentions Jesse will be displayed, or I can look for a particular phone area code if I want to. I can display that information, and I can also change what information is actually displayed on the page. So I've clicked on photos, there's none on that particular page, but if I click through, then you'll see that the photos are starting to come through because they're just stored in my Google Contacts. If I click on one of my contacts, I can see further information, and I can add other information into here, like any biographies or specialities or any other information that I want about the contact. So that works very, very well. I want to show you some images now, and there's 2 ways that we can show images. First of all, it's really simple. So content type, Google Photos. It looks for my album, so I select an album effectively, which is great, and how I want to display it. So I'm interested in carousel, so I'll just click Save. Again, runs into Photos, pulls it across, renders it appropriately depending on how I want to view it, and then I can view the photos, and I can also change the way that the photos are displayed if I want to. I can click through and open up a light box like this if that's deemed appropriate. Another thing that I can do is hold information about particular assets. In this case, I'm going to look at some sports images. So I've got some categories here, some category, type of sport, visibility and year, etc. And I want to have an advanced way in which I can manipulate and find the images that I'm interested in. So I'm going to page settings. I'm doing something slightly different here. So because I've got some subfolders set up here, it's picked out and I can see this navigator filters. So I'm just going to quickly select all these. It does take a little bit of time to build because what it's doing, it's looking in Google Drive and it's pulling all the information across and it's displaying it on here. What I do want to do just quickly is when I'm viewing details, I want to view them by icons, which again just makes it easier for me to be able to see the information. And now you notice that we've got these three boxes here. These are just sample images, but we've got these three boxes here. So I can select the information that I'm interested in finding. So I'm using the criteria that I choose to find that information. So here I've selected football. It's pulled out all the football photos, and you see I've got 2 pages of those. Well, I'll take baseball as well because I need more of those, so I've now got 4 pages. But then I can add in other functionality here. So I'm saying that visibility, well, I'm interested in images that I can use for the public. So now I'm down to 14 or 15 images, but actually I'm only interested in last year. So I'll see how many I've got. 2016 probably not enough. I can look at 2015. That's great, and I can, that's the one that I want. I can click on this, view it, download it, pop it out, do whatever else I want to do with it. So this ability, this navigator feature, this is images. It works very well for images, but it also works very well for any other assets, any documents. So you can set your own criteria, and you can go from a very, very big list of assets and very quickly filter down to the assets which you're most interested in and those which are most useful to you. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the home page, and I've kind of shown you everything I want to show you, but I'll just run through one or two other things which are available. So we've got Google Calendars, so we can embed as many calendars as we want on the page, which works very well. And we can do things like adding Google Forms and Google Groups for discussion groups. And we've seen photos, but you can add in maps. And we can also, interestingly, pull in external data from outside the Google ecosystem. So we can pull an RSS feed, we can pull in even other URL, which makes it very interesting. So I can say, for instance, let's look at this particular site. Be all right if I remembered how to do it. And I can pull an external site directly into my site. And this is interactive, so I can look at this and I can see how things are working. I can navigate through the site. So that gives us an ability to pull information in from other sites, other sources into Overdrive, which makes it much more feasible to get the site and easy to get the site that I want to and share the information with the users that I want to. Two more things I want to show you. So I've spent a little bit of time, as you saw, setting up the look and feel of the site. This is kind of one where we spent a little bit more time, but it's all standard functionality. So you can see, we've got the right colors and the right format, etc. But also our public Overdrive site is actually built on Overdrive. So this uses a lot of custom code. But you can see that you really can get this to look exactly how you want it to look and how you want it to appear. Okay, so if you do want any more information, then you can see our site at overdrive.io. There are trials available, so you can have a look and have a play for yourself to see how it will work in your environment. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sean, for that excellent demo of Overdrive. Appreciate you taking the time and joining us here today. And as folks could see from that demo, building a website, whether it's for an intranet, a portal, a secure external site for partners is actually pretty straightforward and convenient, and you have a lot of flexibility, a lot of capabilities that you don't see within the native sites within the G Suite ecosystem. And so for many organizations, we see Overdrive as a great solution that enhances the capability and the value of your G Suite investment and helps you better communicate, collaborate, and work with one another. And it's a great way of presenting information and even providing interactive environments. So if you have any questions about Overdrive or you'd like a one-on-one demo or even a trial, we can serve up all of those. Just feel free to contact us, info@cumulusglobal.com, or feel free to contact me directly. My email address and our general toll-free number as well as direct line to my desk are on the screen. So I want to thank everyone for joining us to hear this recording of our February 3rd, Tuesday at 3 webcast, Intranets and Portals in G Suite. Hopefully this has been informative and a little bit entertaining, if not enlightening, and contact us if we can provide you with a free trial so you can kick the tires yourself if you'd like more information or a more in-depth demo. Thank you and have a great day.